Center on campus, which is the new teaching greenhouses. And we've got beautiful facilities and they are decorated with some holiday cheer. Joining us today is Dr. Bruce Dunn, who is the Floriculture Professor on campus and is responsible for growing all of this holiday cheer. Dr. Dunn, tell us a little bit about what all goes into getting these plants growing.
Well, I'd like to take credit for all this, but actually it's my students that are in charge of growing all these plants. Part of the greenhouse management class, so they start the plants in August, and then we always have the sale the Thursday and Friday after Thanksgiving.
All right, so you've got quite a mix of different plants. What's your top seller, can I ask?
Yeah, so probably what's kind of surrounded by us is definitely the reds. Probably 80% of sales are in reds, but poinsettias come in a range of colors.
Yeah, we've got some orange ones, white, pink, and then even this beautiful, is this called Winter Rose?
Yeah, so this one's called Winter Rose. It's a little bit different in our production because for this one we actually put 3 cuttings in it and definitely a different form than what you'd see in some of the other plants.
Well, it's just lovely. And what is it that I need to do in order to maintain a good poinsettia throughout the holiday season?
Yeah, so for the poinsettias that we sell here, usually we'll bag them up because it never fails. That's always the windiest day of the year and also the coldest day of the year as well. So we put them in bags. Whenever you take them home, make sure and pull them out of the bags. And then you can check the soil and see whether it needs additional water or not. So the key with it is, what I tell people is that usually we'll put a foil hat underneath it. So whenever you add water, be sure and remove that foil hat off that pot. If not, the water drains and stays in that foil hat, and that's one way to rot out that plant.
Okay, and they will rot pretty easily, is that correct?
They can if they stay within that foil hat. So yeah, a lot of people, you really have to watch and see if it needs the watering or not. The ones that I take at my house, it goes in the kitchen. And for those, it's generally about once a week.
Okay, so just let it drain out in the sink before you go put it back in that foil or whatever decorative container you have.
Right, so water it so the water runs all the way through, and then once it stops draining, put the foil hat back on it, and then yeah, you should be good to go.
Okay, what about placement in our home? Can we put these anywhere? We need to be cautious about drafts and things like that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So ideally they need about 6 hours of direct sunlight, but most people don't give those, and they'll do fine for a couple of months, but if you're trying to keep it past the holidays, you'll start noticing that it starts dropping the leaves, or leaves start turning like a light green color, and it's usually because of poor light conditions.
Okay, so it is lighting that causes the red to come on, and also the amount of light that can cause them to revert back to green. Is that correct? How do we hold our red as long as possible?
Right, so that's kind of the trick to the plants. These are short day plants, which also means that they need the long night conditions. So starting about September 20th, we start getting into these short day conditions. And so for a greenhouse operation, a lot of times we have to go ahead and control that too as well with some kind of blackout, or make sure that lights don't come on past 5 o'clock, for example. And being in those short day conditions, it will trigger them to go from an all green plant into all these different colors.
All right, so if you have a poinsettia from last year, should we start putting it in a closet or putting it under a box or something in order to encourage that red color?
So you can do that, and you might catch it for about Valentine's Day at this point. So really we want to be doing that about September 20th. Be at 5 o'clock, it needs to be in dark conditions, and then at 8 in the morning, pull it back out so that it can have light. It can't stay in the dark all the time. So 8 in the morning to 5 o'clock, it needs to have light conditions. But after that, then it needs to go into dark. And so that's the problem in today's households, that people are having activities late, and so if someone turns on light after 5, that's going to trick it into staying in the vegetative state.
Okay, so just watch the natural sunrise and sunset as we go into winter, and that's what they really prefer.
Right.
Okay, what about our pets? You often hear about poinsettias being poisonous. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's always a lot of questions about, are they harmful to pets or humans even? Current research has showed that, you know, with mice, and that they can eat quite a bit and it's not toxic to them. And so as far as the animals, actually it's kind of minimally toxic to the cats and dogs actually. So it may cause vomiting or diarrhea or anything, but it's not going to kill your animals. Other ones to think about is going to be holly and mistletoe. Those are actually more harmful to animals.
All right, thank you, Dr. Dunn, for sharing all that great poinsettia information with us. And of course, we are here in the new Greenhouse Learning Center on OSU's campus. And join us next season as we tour these brand new facilities.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.